Hello everyone, welcome to Gaming Gold episode 10 for June 17th, 2013. My name is Jordan, and we have Andrew back with us again this week.
Nice to see you all again.
And we're going to talk about trading card games this week, or collectible card games, however you want to talk about it. Things like, I guess the biggest one everybody knows about is Magic the Gathering. I played it when I was young. I know you've played it. You have a lot more experience with these types of games than I do, if I could speak. But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So what's your first experience with collectible card games?
My first obviously was just Magic. I was there at the time when Magic was gaining steam and was building up all of that kind of headway into becoming the major trading card game that it has been for the past 20 some odd years. I can't think of a trading card game that's been going on longer than Magic itself.
Right.
Some games have come and gone, some games are still going, but Magic has been the one that's always really been there. And it's gained and lost its popularity, but it's never died down. It was my first experience was definitely playing some Magic back in the day with some friends and seeing what's this all about? What's this trading card game business?
Right. Well, mine as well. I played it in high school, and we did the whole thing where if you won the game, you got to pick a card from we did that type of stuff.
Yep.
Won and lost some good cards that way.
Oh yeah.
And the big thing, if people don't know about card games, basically you build a deck. Sometimes there's different elements, sometimes there's different factions, sometimes there's different schools of Magic, just depending on the game. And basically what it is you build your deck, and you normally have a type of resource card, or you get a certain amount of resources per turn, stuff like that. So you have your turn, you put out whatever you can, put out your resources, buy whatever you can, and then after you've done everything you can for a turn, then it's your opponent's turn, and they get to come after you, do all their stuff, and you just swap back and forth. And there's different win conditions sometimes, like in Legend of the Five Rings. That had a bunch of different win conditions, bunch of different ways to win. In Magic, unless you're playing special rules, it's pretty much each wizard, you play a wizard basically. You start out with 20 hit points each, and when you have a card, it has a certain amount of attack power, a certain amount of stuff like that. It attacks, it does that much damage unless it's blocked, stuff like that. So don't want to get into all the nitty-gritty details about different games, but that's sort of the gist of it. You play a wizard, or you play a hero, or you play an army or something like that, and your goal is to defeat the opponent. And there's a number of different ways to do that. So that's the basics.
And it's all interesting to see how each type of game will come out with its own resource system for the point buys. If you're playing like Magic, where you've got land of different elements and you're able to pull out resources, quote unquote, on that, or if you're playing like Pokemon, you've got the element of each type of Pokemon that has that's required for it to use its special abilities.
Right.
Other lands just have goal generation or things like that. So it's been interesting just to see the evolution of games as they've been coming out, and to see each one how its own had its own unique resource system, to be able to play everything that you've needed to do.
Right, and another cool thing about these is that they're highly competitive as well. Most of them, if not actually pretty much all of them, have tournaments. Some of them are worldwide tournaments with huge cash pots.
Oh yeah.
L5R, Legends of Five Rings, did for a while. I don't know if they're still doing it, but at their tournaments, they basically had a thing where when you won the tournament, you got to create a card. You got to create a hero or things like that.
I believe they still do that, and Legend of Five Rings, to my knowledge, is really the only one that's actually had a living world.
Right.
And the amazing thing about that is that when you go to the tournaments, or when you're playing in any of their events, what happens there actually carries over into the world that they've built. So
Right.
if one of the clans, as they have their different clans, if one of the clans wins at something, if it's a tournament for the champion, if they win, then all of a sudden that clan gets the champion, and they actually implement that into the world. world. And
Right.
because Legend of Five Rings has a trading or has a role playing game associated with it, that carries over into the role playing game. So all of a sudden, you've got effects and implementations from the trading card game being carried over to the role playing game,
Right.
and it's a living, breathing world where all of a sudden things are changing and the story is evolving as people are playing it.
Hmm.
And you don't see that in a lot of the trading card games where it's everything's unique and it's a standalone one-time like thing independent from everything else. Legend of Five Rings actually has an encompassing overarching world that's just been going on for years.
Okay, sorry we had a little technical difficulty there, but we're back with you now. So we'll wrap up the episode. The last thing I sort of wanted to talk about was the change that's happened with collectible card games. They've gone from just the cardboard paper cards, and now they've moved into the mobile platform and online platform. I mean, um, Magic has had its Portal game for a long time. They've had an online version of Magic the Gathering for a long time, but with the rise of cell phone apps and app games and things like that, it's really taken on a whole new sort of era, I guess. And one of the big ones that both Andrew and I have played in the past is Rage of Bahamut. I know that one's really popular, and there's a ton of them out there. I mean, those aren't the only ones, but there's a
Oh
ton of them
yeah.
out there. Um, so,
I mean, yeah, the entire concept of them being a digital medium has been around for a long time. Magic's had video games based on playing the card game.
right,
Pokemon had a video game based on the card game, and it's been nothing new. But now it's just become so commonplace that it's one of the more popular types of app games out there, and it's got its own subgenre of just different everythings,
mm-hmm.
from the Marvel heroes to fantasy creatures to mythology to just anime girls in skimpy outfits. I mean, it's all out there, and I mean, 99 cents, whatever app you want. Then it's or free to play, and then it's just so much money to buy extra card packs to get the
Right.
good cards to, and it's just become a business
Mm-hmm.
more so than the collectible aspect of it. When it used to be a business, but it had more relevance of being a card game and a
Well,
community kind of thing.
right. Well, they most definitely kept the thing because, like in Magic, if you were building your deck, you wanted because I think you could have the max three of like one type of card other than land. So you were like, if you had that one card that was key to your strategy or whatever, you wanted three of those cards and things like that. In the collectible card games for the mobile apps, they don't do that. At least not nearly as much. I mean, there might be some games that do. Um, but a lot of them, instead of having that aspect of it, what it is you buy those card packs to get the rare cards because they're just more powerful. So really, it's building your deck of really powerful cards, whether it's attack or defense or whatever, however it's set up. Um, so that so instead of having the okay, I'm going to buy an entire case for $200 of magic cards so I make sure I get this artifact and I get these really rare ones and I can use these to trade with my gaming group, and instead of having that, they still keep the trade aspect of it. They still keep things like that, but instead of trying to find that rare card for that reason because it's a linchpin of your deck or something like that, you're finding that rare card because it's got 20 more attack than the cards you currently have or whatever. And they still keep the artwork. I mean, that's always been a huge appeal for collectible card games is the artwork. Um,
Oh yeah,
so so they
and
keep
they're
that
definitely
feel
able
of
to
it.
keep that. Yeah.
Yeah, they keep that feel of it, but they still have the same concept of I'm going to buy a pack to see if I get this rare card. They keep that sort of concept, but it's for different reasons now. Um, and they can do cool things though because like before, like, if you were playing Magic with your friends, you could do some cool things like, hey, we're gonna have a 3-on-3, or we're gonna have an all free for all battle, and we'll have four people at the table, or you could do things like that. But with the digital medium, they can do a lot more things. Like they actually run events where it's
Well,
like,
and a lot of the games that don't have that sort of thing, but one of the ones that actually did is not Magic, I'm sorry, it's World of Warcraft. They actually had raid encounters where you would have a group of people playing, and then you would have someone playing as a raid boss from the game itself. If
Right.
you're familiar with World of Warcraft, Onyxia's Lair, Molten Core, like different actual raids in the game, you'd have that. So it definitely seemed like they took that aspect of it, and now they incorporate different events. Fight a superpower or a supervillain as your superheroes in the
Right.
Marvel world, or fight a great god. Odin's coming down. He's smiting everyone left and right, so you've got to go out, ride out with your buddies, and you've got to go defeat Odin or whatever it might be. So
Right.
it's definitely more common, and you didn't see a lot of it in the original traditional trading card games, but you're getting more of that, and it's helping to create more of the social aspect of it, the
Right.
community working together to advance themselves and each other to the end of it.
Right. Well, and that's one of the cool things about the sort of the whole system now is, okay, so before, you had your group of friends maybe from the comic shop or something like that, you're, the guys you knew from high school or at work or whatever. You had your small group of people that you could get to, play, and you guys were really passionate about it and stuff like that. But now there's millions of people playing them on their cell phone. There's millions of people who are passionate, just as passionate as you and your 5 friends were, but now there's millions of people. So you can actually join social groups and meet people and game with people just like an MMO across, the entire United States,
Oh
across
yeah.
the world, and you can work together as a team to accomplish things. So the things like that are very cool. Things have just changed, but they're still good. I enjoy the collectible card games. I don't get to play them as much as I used to, um, especially now that you're on the East Coast.
Hey, yeah, it's been a big change, and it's definitely been nice to be able to do that together. And I miss playing the regular card games with you and out there. But it's definitely come a long way with where the card games are. I mean, a lot of the elements are still the same. You just can't get away from needing a point buy system with how you generate whatever you need to generate,
Right.
and but the concepts have changed, and unique details, and everything's kind of branched out. So you've got your different genres, whatever you want to do. If it's an anime that you've liked, or it's the role playing game, or it's just on your phone, just made up of whatever kind of mythologies or mythos that they
Right.
wanted to. I mean, it's all there, and it's all progressing, and it's an art form in this world that just isn't going anywhere, because really, with the time that people have to spend on these, it's an art form in and of itself.
Right. Right. Yep. So I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover for today. Um, so yeah, Andrew, thank you for joining us again. I know we've had a couple weeks where schedules just haven't worked out. Things just haven't worked out.
Yeah,
But
it's good to be back.
I'm glad to have you back. Give me somebody to ramble at. Um, you can follow us on Twitter. His is Charles Goldwing, and mine is Jordan Rader. So you can see our names right up there. So just put an @ in front of that with no space, and that's how you find us on Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/gaminggold88, and you can follow us on the YouTubes at youtube.com/gaminggold88. Thank you guys, and have a nice week.
Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.